Scatchel, ominous.
Don't call it a comeback.
Took a deflection off that plate, but Rudy Scatchel has had his say. This is the start of dreams for Heart.
Well, you join us here on a very podcast. It's We Have No Cares with me, Nicol Hay, with him.
Me, Robert Borthwick, yeah, I'm here.
And our Derby specialist, Simon, has rolled in. Simon, are you glad to be here?
No. Put me back in the crypt for another 12 months, I think.
Well, some questions were answered today, and not in a way that we would have wanted them to be answered.
No.
We one of the big questions before today was, has Robbie figured it out in big games? And the answer coming back was, Simon?
Fuck no.
Oh, that's pretty emphatic. What do you think the answer was, Robert?
I think the answer is he hasn't figured it out in derbies. I think in big games he's shown against Celtic and Aberdeen that he can set a team up to win or at least get a result from those games. However, in derbies he has been a big bag of horse shit.
Not a huge endorsement there from Mr. Robert Borthwick.
No!
Unless, do you really like bags of horseshit? I know you keep a bag of horseshit in your bedroom. Do you hug it every night?
I just use it as a pillow, man. I like it. Yeah. I don't like it.
Absorb it. It's just
I've never liked it. I'm glutton for punishment.
Strong metaphor for being a football supporter, I think.
Yes.
There. So it's warm and we hold on to it, but don't really like it.
No.
I was going to try and shoehorn in a girlfriend and bag of shit gag there, but
Couldn't do it.
can't do it.
Ah,
Too
no.
busy thinking about the Derby record here.
I think you've accomplished it and it's definitely staying in.
The bits are there, you can put it together yourself later on. It's the Kinder Egg of jokes.
Well, okay, so we've been away for a few weeks, but I think we can roll the general admin into the discussion of this game, this Scottish Cup 5th round game?
Yep, sure.
The Scottish Cup nth round game.
Middle round.
Against Hibernian Football Club of the parish of Leith.
Yes.
So the big first point that we had was team lines. Team lines influenced by our last game at Hamilton and the comings and goings of the transfer window. The only thing that really to touch on from the Hamilton game, the only event worthy of any fucking note was Igor Rossi being a Raj cunt.
Why, Igor? Why?
Why do you think that, Simon?
It's bloody typical foreigners, eh?
Alright, Brad McKay. Fucking hell.
No, like, I get it was a red card and stuff, but it's hard to be upset with him when he got sent off because he just sat there on his bottom like a cheeky little child that had just done his first shit in a potty. He's just like, oh, look what I've done.
I've gone in studs up for no reason. Are you proud of me, Dad?
Oops.
It was amazing how he did it as well. It wasn't like he dived in and got any sort of punch on it. He just sort of dropped to his arse and then shot his legs out.
Aye.
It was pretty
It
incredible.
was more of a Mortal Kombat move than anything. It was sort of like a roundhouse sweep from the arse position. It was
dafty.
bizarre. Yeah,
What a dafty.
that game was fucking terrible.
That was shite. Yes.
Like that puts today in perspective because that game was a truly shit game.
Yeah, it was.
They're like two different ends of the same jobby.
Yeah, exactly. One's a slightly runnier.
It started off alright and then just tapered away at the end to nonsense.
Yeah, today had that acid tang that really nips. So that's the only thing to take from the Hamilton game. The Inverness game was cancelled because
Weather.
They just do things like that in Inverness.
Yeah.
And then last Monday the transfer window slammed shut, and out of the door went Morgaro Gomez. Halfway out of the door went Osman Sow,
Yep.
sort of keeking around the window.
Yeah.
And in came Albiola Duda?
Abiola Dauda.
Albiola
Dauda! It's not Dauda!
No, say Dauda!
It's Dauda!
And
Should have thrown some pots and pans about there. I'm going to enjoy this.
Don Cowie and John Suter,
McGavin.
Suter, you say Suter.
It's not Sauda! Suter McGavin, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Right, well, the first thing to say is thank you, China.
Yes, thank you.
China's fucking mental. Eh?
What are you doing?
What's happened? It's like some cunts won the lottery over there. What do you want to do? Buy a house? No, I'll buy Ramirez for 30 million.
Aye, and then their hipster pals like, no, I'm going to buy Osman Sow. You've never heard of him.
Some of them.
Well, I think their first hipster pal sort of went, I'm going to buy Jackson Martinez. Well, I'm going to buy Teixeira. He plays in the Ukraine. You think you're better than me?
Yeah, here's Osman Sow and Ryan McGowan.
They paid quite a bit of money for McGowan.
375 grand?
He was out of contract
Aye.
as well. I had to let somebody in China that I'm a professional footballer and try and waggle a high money move.
I don't think China have quite learned yet how to football.
And look,
They've got the
devil's
money.
advocate for a second. Their season does start in a month's time, so they can't really wait around for June to get these players for free.
Yeah, but they still, come on now. But thanks though, China, if you're listening.
China's
Which I would
like,
assume you are.
If you've got, yeah, why not?
listen to
I'm
everything.
pretty
Imagine
sure,
they tried to buy the podcast for £2 million.
to be honest, I'm sure as soon as we said China into a digital medium, they started listening. Yeah, if you got 25 million to Spunk and Ramirez, you've definitely got 1.5 million to throw at Osman Sow.
Yeah.
It's like when Peter Griffin played Blackjack in Family Guy, where they just don't seem to understand the concept of bidding for a player. It's like, we'll give you, 500 grand for Osman Sow, 2 million. No, 500, 3 million. Million and a half? Yes.
Yes. Deal.
Just took pity on them and talked them down from 3 million. It's sort of like, guys, we can't do this to you. we know your economy's very strong, but let's be real.
Maybe they just fucking hate bartering, and it was just kind of like, how much do you want for your player Osman Sow? How much do you want to offer? £1.5 million. Right, okay, deal.
Yeah, they're just very accommodating.
Yeah.
It's lovely to see.
Great guys, great bunch of lads.
What's very interesting about this, I think this is the first time in my life we've had a player come in, play exceedingly well, be a fan favourite, and then as soon as he's left, 18 months later, everyone's been like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, you were staring down the barrel of him literally leaving for nothing, and there was all these rumours about Celtic and Rangers being interested in him, and that's always the worst thing that you want to see when a player plays well, is them going to direct competition.
Yeah.
You don't want to see him leaving for free, but somehow we've managed to waggle this awesome deal, and obviously he gets a shit ton of money out of it as well. His salary will quadruple going over there, so I mean everybody's a winner.
Aye.
Hypothetical.
I have heard scurrilous rumours that Osman doesn't particularly care where he plays. He just lets his agent sign the best deal for him and off he pops.
That seems to be the chat, aye. It's kind of like, he says to his agent, like, when am I playing this week? He's like, you're at Crystal Palace. Alright, no bother, mate. Aye, soon.
So to be
Then we're
honest,
going now, China. Alright, cool, I've always wanted to go there, why not?
so the food will be good. Yeah, I'm into it. Yeah.
Don't ask Derek Radden for a review though.
Don't ask Derek Brown to use language, to be honest.
Yes.
Okay, so we're 8 minutes in and we've talked successfully very much around the subject of the Edinburgh Derby, which was played today. So the upshot of all of those comings and goings was that Osman Sow, even though he was technically available for today, just flew back yesterday, so wasn't in the frame of mind or match fit ready to be able to play.
Yeah.
So Dowda took his place up front.
Dowda.
You heard me.
Yep.
And thanks to Igor's suspension, we saw Jordan McGee take up his role at left back, which sort of fit the pattern of Robbie being a bit cautious in derbies.
Yeah.
And a bit cautious is kind of how it started, was it not, Robert Borthwick?
It was, aye. It's kind of how it started and finished, and see all the bits in the middle was kind of like that as well. Yeah, it was.
It's a hard game to analyse because I don't think either team were particularly ascendant or particularly bad. I don't think Hearts were particularly bad.
I
They
think
sat off it.
The first half changed in Hearts' favour when Dylan McGeoch fucked his groin, which allowed us to start to dominate in there.
It was instant before that was Blabin going off, feeling his handy, and Cowie coming on very much not match fit.
Yeah.
And he fulfilled the role, but I don't think anyone's going home raving about I don't think anyone's going home to get Don Cowie's name written on the back of their shirt today.
Really well.
We didn't lose the ball.
Not he was.
But
he blatantly doesn't have the legs to play on a flank.
Yeah.
And he got shifted into the centre, and him and June switched over a couple of times. But every time he got the ball, he tried to bring it down and play an easy pass, try and calm things down. It was the one thing that Hearts didn't have all day, was somebody willing to try and calm the play and get the ball moving about again. It was very much up in the air or bobbling about or just trying to get it out from under your feet, whereas Cowie, for me, always tried to just calm things down.
He tried to, but to be completely fair, he didn't always succeed.
No, but his hit rate compared to everybody else was stratospheric.
Well, I think the tactics today were to hit long, like to try and then the swirling wind that we had today was an interesting decision to say the least. I think
I'm not sure that was the tactics. I think Hibs squeezed the midfield very well, as we knew they would, with Henderson and McGinn.
Are you sure about that? Because Patterson was hitting the ball very early. He was barely across the halfway line when he was trying to whip crosses in.
Because he had no options in the midfield.
He had acres of space in front of him. They were playing a narrow 4-4-2 diamonds, and he had like easily 10-20 yards to run in before he hit the balls that he was hitting.
Well, the one example I can think of is when Dowda had separated the two centre halves and Patterson kept running into that space, then lost the ball.
I can think of many more opportunities where he was just like 5-10 yards an hour.
And we got a goal from it.
A ball.
I think that was not the tactic, but there was a definite ploy, which was to get Dowda off the shoulder of McGregor and to curve his runs in behind the two centre halves, which is like say how the goal came about. And there was a definite ploy where anytime Patterson got the ball on the right hand side, it was to shell this curved ball in. But when you're getting no change out of that, you need to be able to freshen it up. And when you can see that Dowda's not got the aerial ability to win higher balls, you either start pinging balls into feet or you work it. You work the ball and you recycle the play and you start again. But we didn't do that. It just seemed like it was constantly Patterson shelling the curved ball, and then like say wind makes that pass almost an impossibility.
It's just a lottery. It's completely.
But when it does come off, like Robert says, like that's where the goal came from. But you are talking 1 out of maybe like 10-15 balls that came off.
Yeah. So it was a weird first half, but for both teams really. Like we say, Hibs played like their 4-4-2 diamond, and their plans got disrupted, as you say, when McGeoch went off, and they made the really weird decision of keeping Bartley at the holding midfield and putting like Kevin Thompson's aging fucking legs on as the shuttler on the right hand side, and he didn't have the energy. So for long periods of the first half, it was two bald men fighting over a comb. There was nothing going on in the game at all, except for 2 moments of real quality from Hearts in the finishes. Arnold Hume's goal, for example, Simon.
Yeah, I mean that was the first time we played any kind of football. It was like there was a good minute's worth of knocking the ball about and did a very quick interchange of play from one flank back to the other and then switched it again. And then you fire in a ball, and Lewis Stevenson thought that the use of his face was the best way to clear the ball. And
even when the ball was about a yard off the deck, it was fucking genuinely surreal.
Let's be honest though, Lewis Stevenson isn't very tall, so a yard off the deck is what, like 7 inches above Lewis Stevenson's head?
That's true, yeah.
It's like he burrowed underground and then popped out through the ground again to try and head at it. But then like it took forever for Zoom to get his shot away.
Yeah.
And then when he hits it, you're like, I don't think that's going. Oh no, that's lovely. Isn't that just beautiful?
That's 1-0 for Hearts.
It was a lovely curved ball from just outside the area. Really, I mean, like we say, the one real example of technique and skill up to that point. I mean, we got another one from Sam Nicholson.
Yeah. Great ball in from Patterson, skipped over the head of David Gray, who was actually very good in the first half for Hibs. He didn't give Nicholson any change whatsoever.
Yeah.
The one time that Nicholson got the better of him, cut back inside, took it past him, and then wrong-footed Oxley, and then grabbed his dick and balls in the direction of the Hibs fans.
Is that right?
Well, he didn't just do it once. He got booked for it, and yeah, he was properly just grabbing his balls, looking at the Hibs fans who were quite irate about that.
I was in the main stand for this match. I was just celebrating. I didn't notice any of that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have you on hand, Rob, our resident Sam Nicholson Dick and Balls reporter.
That's me. Yeah.
It's like a creepy player cam.
So that was delightful, and to be honest with you, I didn't see Hibs scoring or doing anything from that point onwards.
It was a nothing half. Like the first half was a non-event. There was no football played.
No, from either team.
And absolutely from either team. And it was 2 moments of quality. And then you think that gives you a very good setting for the second half to either contain a team or to push them on and try and kill the game off early doors.
Yeah.
Which is possibly where things turned, because just before that, the end of the half, Aleem pulled up another injury. And he battled on, we were into injury time in the first half, so obviously we weren't going to take him off immediately. He came out for the second half and tried manfully for about 5-10 minutes and then had to go off. And then the decision was to bring on Juwon and move McGee into the centre half. Rob, as you noticed, Hibs reacted to that immediately.
Yeah, as soon as they saw Oshiniwa was coming on, they decided to bring on Gunnarsson for David Gray. I think Gunnarsson's a lot more attacking and he's good in the air as well as big laddie.
Just a lot more thrust.
Yeah, a lot more thrust. So they were really looking to push up onto Oshiniwa and put him under pressure. It's fair enough. He is a weak point of this team and it's well known. Every other team, every opposition will know that if you push on Oshiniwa, he will probably make a mistake.
Yeah,
He's just not found his feet yet. I don't get.
I actually thought he did fine when he came on. He had one fresh air swipe, but other than that, I thought defensively he was sound.
His shot was really good.
Good God, I've never ever seen someone hit the top corner of the stand before.
I think he knocked one of the elms off that are up there to get the pigeons away.
He was just aiming for that fucking poster of Stephen Presley. Heard he was a snake.
Sneaky snake.
It takes a certain amount of technique to pull that off, certainly. But he was trying to play much more simple than we've seen before, to be completely fair to Juwon. He was trying to sort of knock the ball out of the park first time rather than take people on. He was trying to be much more simple, but still somehow in early, possibly the wind, possibly Hibs shape, things just still found their way to Hibs players, and we just looked a lot less certain with him back there. But I think part of that at least is having McGee at centre half as well.
McGee does fine at centre half. I think.
It's not necessarily how the individuals performed, just the uncertainty that sort of spread throughout the back unit, and Alexander wasn't coping well with the wind either when it came to taking down cross balls or things like that. So there was just a general sense of unease, which made Robbie's decision to try and see out a game that wasn't dead all the more baffling.
Yeah,
It should have been an easy game to see out.
yeah.
I'm not a football expert. I am a football expert.
You are.
But I mean, you know enough to know that if you're going to contain a game, you don't contain a game in your own 12-yard area. In that line between the 12-yard box for the line, you don't contain it. You contain it in the middle of the park. That's where you press. The second they come over the half line, that's when you press. You don't press in their half, because that means you commit men forward and you get susceptible to the break.
Yeah.
But we just waited and waited and waited the whole second half. This wasn't like when Juwon came on, or when Hibs changed shape. It was consistently just let them come straight onto the edge of our box, and then that's when we thought, we'll try and press the game now.
So yeah, changing shapes. Eventually Hibs did decide to move Thompson back to holding midfield and Bartley more forward, which gave them a lot more dynamism in the centre of the park. We countered by going to a 4-2-3-1, moving Cowie into sort of central midfield and Riley out on the right, where he looked very sort of lost and very ineffective, and it meant that Dowda was on his own, and he really didn't seem to have fun at that point.
That was him out of the game,
Yeah.
really. He had a couple of runs at defenders later in the game, but that was his game over by then, because you're shelling long balls up to him with nobody around him.
And Hibs, I mean, they were coming into the game, but I do think their goal kind of came from a weird situation. Thompson playing advantage for them, they managed to play 3-4 passes, and then he pulled it back, and we really weren't set for when the ball sort of finally found its way to Cummings.
Yeah. Everything about that goal was strange. Even the finish, the way it went in.
Yeah, the way that Alexander was kind of leaving it.
I don't think he was leaving it. He was genuinely beaten by the flight of the ball. Even if he'd backpedaled, I don't think he would have got there.
And he started to backpedal and he looked at the flight of the ball, and there was a couple of seconds that's gone over, and then he seen he was like, oh no, fuck, it's actually going to dip in. But it's too late by that point because the wind's caught it as well.
Yeah. Bad goal to lose because Cummins did the square root of fuck all in that match.
Contained him in Stokes so well.
Him and Stokes did nothing, but that's what you get with Jason Cummins. You get goals. That's what he does.
It's Roddy, who was sitting next to for this game, put it perfectly. Neither of them are workers.
No.
So they're not a great partnership. They're both the guys that you want on the end of chances that someone else has created. So it's
very singular players.
Yeah.
You see Stokes with free kicks. There was never any intention to whip this ball in because we've got 3 or 4 big physical players to aim for. It was just like, I'm having a fucking shot, and then I'm going to go home and slap an Elvis impersonator about it.
You know, if that's your thought process and that's what's worked for you so far in your career, then you stick with what you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how we ended up. Like Hibs, they weren't creating loads of chances. Like nobody dominated this game. Nobody like really outright deserved to win it. But when that's the goal you give away, it's frustrating. But the way we reacted to it was even more frustrating. Now I know Doom had taken a knock earlier on in the second half, but the fact that we had to take him off to put on Walker, I didn't like it from the second it happened.
Nah.
I thought it was Suter that was coming on to begin with, and I was like, that kind of makes sense. Sticking a big physical laddie in there.
You can play defensive midfield, aye.
I mean, I know he's young, but he has been playing. You know, he's not just coming off an injury. You know, it's not like he's a stranger to the SPL. He should be able to, like, you know, come in and do a job for that time. But instead, Robbie decided to go for Walker.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously their second goal came from a set piece, but you know, it just generally meant that we didn't have a hold in the game for the whole remainder of the
Hibs'
match.
strength is their midfield. Barkley absolutely bossed it. Barkley was the best player on the pitch. And then you've got
he was outrunning Nicholson at every sort of turn. Like there was lots of times where Nicholson was trying to get on balls and Barkley just didn't let him.
Then you've got Henderson and McGinn, who are both Premiership standard footballers. And we decided.
Though Henderson winning number 3 playing an attacking midfield role, I don't like it.
Who's it? Yeah, it's Asamoah Gyan. Yeah, like bringing on Walker into a midfield that meant that Hibs could easily dominate with the 3 that they had, as well as Kevin Thompson. Like it made no sense, 0 sense whatsoever.
And we didn't seem to have much shape either. It wasn't like Walker stayed. It wasn't like we went to a 4-4-2 with Riley like supporting Dowda again and Walker out in the wing. Walker was in the middle a lot and Riley was flitting around. Like we just seemed to have run out of a plan. Towards the end.
Yeah, which considering you're winning a game, you know you should
against lower league opposition. I know it's a derby and everything, but they are literally an entire division below us.
Yeah,
a shite defence, like compared to ours, and arguably like I'd say midfielders are much of a match between the two teams. Do you mean I think it was like a midfield that would cancel each other out in those kind of games? But at that point, it was crying out for not Walker. It was Wanma should have come on. If you're going to hit long balls and
make the ball stick
it in their half and then try and get folk up to support, because it wasn't happening for Duada. Like those long balls were not happening. If you were going to play long balls persistently, then it should have maybe been Riley that was up top on his own, and it shouldn't have been long balls to him. It should have been long balls in the corners and the flanks for him to chase after and press the game there. But it was just pointless chucking balls to Duada for
that's
what
an
seemed
interesting.
like 90 minutes.
It's an interesting thought. Like I never at any point thought that the forward line was a problem. Now don't get me wrong, I never thought that like Dowda was bossing it or anything like that. But I thought it was the midfield that was our problem. Like I was like sort of pining for like. Even when it happened last Monday, I was worried that we'd let Gomez go and not replaced him, because I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched Cowie for many years. I don't know what his game's like now, but certainly when he was at Cali, he was if we're going to compare him to anyone, a Jamie Walker, like a sort of winger come number 10. Now if he's had like a Paul Hartley-esque change of position in the latter days, possibly he has, but I don't know. And he certainly hasn't been even playing for Wigan, let alone setting the heather on fire for them.
Just say you hate him, Nicole. Just say you hate him.
No, that's it. That's it. I hate having white players in our team.
We made the midfield our problem because every single time we shelled the ball forward, there was no one there to hold it up, and the ball was going straight to the midfield where Hibs had more numbers in it.
And we're slow to move as well.
If we had the ability or the players to hold the ball up front, then that wouldn't have been as much of a problem.
Okay, well then the counterpoint to that is we didn't have the midfield to retain it and play passes along the deck.
Because Boabin and Doom got injured, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. The problem was there, and now you've got to solve it one way, and I guess Robbie didn't pick either way to solve it.
He did it entirely the wrong way by trying to bring on Jamie Walker when it wasn't Walker's game of play.
If you'd brought on Wanma, like hypothetically now we're in this realm of fantasy, but if you brought on Wanma and got somebody to get the ball to stick for 10 seconds up top, then it lets your midfield get back into position.
Yeah.
When you're shelling a ball up to a guy and he's losing the header and it's coming straight back onto your midfield, and your midfield is automatically, when the ball's being played long, has gravitated over to the left hand side because that's where they expect the ball to go. And then when Hibs win it, the play automatically shifts over to the left. So you've got 5 or 6 guys trying to get back into position all the time. Every time you shell it long, guys are like over on the left trying to get back over the right, and that's what Hibs did. Everything came down the left hand side because they were winning that ball and just dragging the play back over where they had space because they knew Hearts were over on our left. Their right hand side.
Possibly the easiest way to summarise it is that we looked like a team that were missing key players either through injury, suspension or transfers, and we just didn't have the wherewithal to replace them either through lack of personnel or just lack of experience with each other. There was key points in the play from Cowie and Dowda that looked like we didn't know, we weren't connecting. They didn't know how to play with each other. It looked like we didn't know what Dowda's strengths were.
Yeah, we played like he was Osman Sow when he's not Osman Sow.
Yeah.
That was the issue.
Well, you never know. Well, we've got like a week and a half until the replay, so maybe we'll know by then.
Yeah, maybe.
Yay. So, I mean, we kind of reached the end. Oh no, we haven't actually described Hibs' second goal, have we? Which was a bit,
Well, that's right, the score.
Corner, header, save, rebound, goal. There you go.
Alright, cool, summed up.
Yeah.
Hibs celebrating like they've won.
Yeah.
It was coming though. That equaliser absolutely was coming.
Oh yeah.
Like you could fucking feel it. You just knew that the second they scored the first goal, they were scoring again. And then when they scored right on 90 minutes or whatever it was, you're like, they could easily get another one.
Oh, we did have a chance.
But then we were the closest to winning.
That's what I mean. Like if we'd converted that Don Cowie chance that hit the bar of the subsequent corner, like it would have been a total get out of jail free card because it would have mashed up, like I said, we've covered a lot of problems in our display today.
Just so weird that it seems to be Hibs that have this sign over us. We're not necessarily losing to them very much, but
yeah, we've only lost one game under Nielsen against Hibs, but we've drawn 3.
It's more worrying is just that we don't play like ourselves when we play against Hibs.
Nah.
Like, well, yeah, I mean, you touched on it before. That performance that we had in the previous round of the Cup, especially pertinent because it was the Cup. That performance we had against Aberdeen, who, in beating Celtic and beating St Johnstone over the last couple of weeks, have shown that they are an excellent team.
Yeah.
We absolutely bossed them. We took the fight to them. We were consummately excellent against them, and we didn't see any of that today.
No.
I don't think we've played well in any derby under Nielsen. Do you mean like the first game, the 2-1 game, was not a great game of football, but it was like an excellent Sam Nicholson goal and then a penalty.
Yeah.
And then it's the
and a nice elbow.
Yeah, and then you've got the Ozturk game. We were fucking all over the shop in that game.
Yeah.
And then you've got another draw on top of that, and then you've got the defeat, which we've not really turned up in. And then today you get this sort of patchwork display where there's little glimpses of what Hearts are great at, but we just didn't even come close to hitting the heights that we have recently.
Nah.
And the frustrating thing is, like you say, it's the heights that we can hit. We should beat this team easily, but for some reason,
it's not bravado saying that either. I'm not like, oh, it's fucking Hibs, we should absolutely pump Hibs all the time. We played really well, like in the last couple of months, like some big performances and got some big results.
we're third in the SPL.
We should have been horsing them today. Like on paper, when I seen Fontaine was out, for me that's when my confidence pre-match was like, yep, that's the money, because I think he's a very good all action defender. Him and like McGregor and Hammond, just I was like, that's on paper, sounds shite.
Aye.
And we just never got going at all.
We should be seeing them again next season, though. They seriously should be coming up, should they not?
Hope not.
It's Hibs, mate. They should be, you're right, but they are Hibs, and let's never forget that.
Okay, good. Noted.
We need to bear that in mind, that they are definitely still a Hibernian football club.
Okay, well, then I guess we must move on to songs. Does anyone have anyone that they want to nominate for songs out of that performance?
Stand-in skipper, the only man really worthy today.
Yes, Blagie did win all those headers that he normally does win. He did his job as well as anyone.
He was great. He was our best player.
I like how you're looking at me like as if I've got a song lined up.
Well, not right now. I just
Or ever.
I just want some thoughts from you, Simon.
Yeah, Blanchard is good. Good enough.
Cool, thanks for those thoughts,
To let me
Simon.
listen to a song about him. That'd be great. He's crazy in the air, eh? Like.
I've never seen a Hearts
That's
defender
good.
that dominant in the air ever. He's unreal. Unreal.
So good job, Lazzy. Your ability to jump up and down has earned you these following songs.
Yay.
Headed down and it's there. A sensation.
Oh, hi listeners, it's Nicole Hay here. You might know me from the We Have No Cares podcast that you were just listening to. You might be wondering why no one is singing at you right now. Now, I don't want to cast aspersions around, but someone who was operating the recorder, whoever that might be, didn't do a great job. So our glorious singing round has been, well, lost forever. I can tell you that it was won by Simon, who did a magnificent riff on We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel. It was magnificent. His voice is strong and tender. It's emotional, yet it's stirring. It's one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. And Simon has just completely retired from singing, so don't expect to hear that again. Sorry, really sorry, but, well, yeah. So that's us wrapped up the show in an even more untidy fashion than normal. Again, if you like the podcast, please do tell all your friends about it. Spread the word around on Twitter and find us on Twitter at We Have No Cares, at RF Borthwick and at Nicole Hay. Send us emails, wehavenocares@gmail.com. Find the website at wehavenocares.tumblr.com. Just, try and forgive us. I'm very sorry. Steve Crawford.
Arriving on the scene.